Chasing. We started a series called Chasing, and it was for two reasons. Number one, because chase became our theme word for our student ministry for 2016. We're going to chase after God in everything that we do. So that's one of the reasons that I wanted to do a series on chasing. Another one was because I think that as teenagers and as adults, we always chase something. We're chasing after something. Maybe we're chasing after happiness, which is what we talked about last week. Maybe you're chasing after popularity. Maybe you want to be known. You want to be the popular kid in school. Maybe you're chasing after money. Maybe, even, in fact, you're chasing after God. And actually, it's my prayer that you're chasing after God. And, just to skip all the way to the end of the series, I hope you get the main point of this whole thing is for you to be chasing after God in life. If you get nothing else out of all 4 weeks that we're going to spend in the series called Chasing, I want you to know that we should be chasing after God in everything. And I think that having a drive or having a pursuit of something, I think that's a great thing to have. I actually think that God puts that in you. I think God gives you an ability to pursue something, but I think it's Him that He wants you to pursue. You guys remember the hashtag from last week? It was hashtag chasing after God. Well, we're going to keep this thing going until the end of the series is over with. I didn't see a whole lot of hashtags, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if that ain't in anymore. If I'm just down, I don't know what it is, but I didn't see hardly any hashtags last week. So this is what we're going to do. Real quick, everybody pull out their phone. Pull it out. Pull out your phone. Pull up your camera. Pull up your Twitter, whatever it is. Take a picture of yourself or tweet something about being here on Sunday night. And then hashtag it, chasing after God. You got 30 seconds. Go. Hashtag it, chasing after God. 30 seconds. Take a picture with you and your boys or you and your girls. Take a selfie Sunday, whatever it is that you want to do. Hashtag it, chasing after God. What I'd like to do is when we're done tonight, I'm going to go back and look at all your beautiful faces. If you took pictures, and I want to see your hashtags. I want to see you guys being here. So I'm going to look at your Twitters and your Instagrams, and hopefully you guys got that on there. What I'd like to do is keep up with that throughout the series as well. I want to see what you guys are reflecting on during the week. If something comes up on Tuesday or after small group on Wednesday, and you hashtag that chasing after God, I want to go and look and see what it is that you're reflecting on. So if you feel like maybe sometime during the week, you find yourself chasing after something else that's not God, I want you to send yourself a tweet on Instagram with that hashtag to remind yourself to be chasing after God. Okay, so start using that hashtag. But let's get back to the main point. Let's talk about money. Boom. Anybody like a stack of bills does something to somebody? I'm telling you. A roll of bills like that, Carter, get your eye off of it, brother. Somebody's going to get this tonight. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but that's a roll of 20s with the rubber band around it. Okay, that's going to go to somebody. I'm lying. That's not going to go to anybody. But see you stack the bills like that, like inspiring you, don't it? It does something. Knowing that you're going to have a bunch of money. I mean, you're probably already thinking about, man, think of the things I could get with that. I could get that Beebs record. You know what? It's out. I don't have it yet. Whatever. Some of you have it, some of you don't. So, what I want you to do on your paper, right here, there's a question. I'm going to change that question. It says, what are 3 things that you want to buy right now? This is what I want you to do. If you won the $1.5 billion Powerball, what 3 things would you do with that money? Write that down on that piece of paper. What 3 things would you do or buy with that money? Right there. Go ahead and put that down on your little sheet of paper. If you won $1.5 billion, that's a bigger stack of money than that right there. By the way, that's $76. That's what will be donated to the Chiari Foundation in the name of Paige Henderson. So that's what you guys raised this last month. Good job. Congratulations. But if you had $1.5 billion, what would you do with it, or what would you buy with it? 3 things. Everybody got them? want you to do is get with the 2 or 3 people around you, and I want you to share with them, each other, what it is that you're going to do with your $1.5 million. Okay? Billion. Go ahead. Discuss that. Talk about what you're going to be getting with $1.5 billion. Okay, everybody got it discussed? Okay, let's talk about this for a second. You guys have discussed with each other what it is that you're going to get with $1.5 billion. What are some of the things that you heard your friends were going to get with $1.5 billion? Cars? What? That's a lot of food, brother. $1.5 billion worth of ramen noodles and mac and cheese right there. Got you. Okay, what was it? Who? What? What is that? Oh, Yeezys. Go get some Yeezys? Whatever that is. Okay. Who? I can't hear you. Oh, charity? Okay. What else? Madeline, what you getting? Okay, so some foundations and then some college. Jared? Run for president, okay? What? Buy an island? Invested in some stocks? Okay, anybody else want to shout something out? Buy some stars. The stars are free, bro. You can just buy one and name it after you. Nobody will ever know. You can just do that. Let's hear something from a college student. Mr. Ingram, you're a TU student, correct? What would you do with $1.5 million?
Said I'd buy a small country.
Buy a small country. Boom. Okay. Hey, let's get an adult opinion. What would the adults buy? Don't say new children. Donate a bunch? Pay off your mortgage? Would you pay mine off too? Come on, man. Okay, so that's awesome. You guys just got done dreaming. You just got done dreaming about what life would be like if you had won the lottery or the Powerball, or if your parents had won. You talked about some sweet cars. You talked about some sweet vacations. Maybe you're buying an island or donating it to charity. Maybe you're going to be buying a big house. Maybe you're going to be like whatever Yeezys are. Maybe you're going to be high in fashion and you'd be down with the latest thing. And I am sure, I'm absolutely positive that you would be happy initially with whatever it is that you purchase, or whatever it is that you donate to. You would be happy initially. But what we don't see, and what we have probably never heard, or have a hard time conceptualizing, is that there is often a dark side also to having it all. I found a video about some people who won the lottery, and I want you guys to watch it. Go ahead, Gibbs. But I think that's kind of touches on what we brought up last week about this thought of acquiring more stuff or acquiring more money might somehow make us happy. And there's kind of a combination between chasing money and chasing happiness. I think they go in together as far as the way we think about money. Because we think that money makes us happy. If I only had more money, I would be happy. I've been saying that to myself for like 43 years. And money just does not make you happy, I promise you. Most of the things that you guys get with money is, most of those things will fade away. It's just all stuff. And they'll fade away and they won't last forever. So I'm going to give you two truths that you can write down on your paper. On the front side it says stuff will not and stuff will not. The first truth I want you to know is that stuff will not last forever. Everyone say that. Stuff will not last forever. Write that down. And y'all know that stuff that you just got for Christmas? Those new shoes or those Beats or them Yeezys? Whatever, you got those? I don't even know what those are. That stuff that you got for Christmas, eventually, one day, is going to wind up in a dump somewhere. Or you're going to wind up donating it to Goodwill or to the Salvation Army. Stuff doesn't last forever. It just doesn't. Don't spend your life chasing stuff that's not going to last. Don't chase stuff that won't make you happy or fulfilled. So the thought is tonight, how can you change the way that you feel about acquiring stuff? How can you escape that desire for more money? How can you escape the desire for more stuff? Or if I only had what they had, if I only had as much money as they had, I could manage it better and it would make me happy. How do you escape that desire? We're going to do it with scripture. We're going to read a story about a guy who spent his whole life chasing stuff. And it comes from the Gospel of Luke. And I think it's on your card. Yes, it's on your card. So you can follow along. Luke chapter 12, and we're going to start with verse 15. Luke chapter 12, starting with the 15th verse. It says, "Then he said, 'Beware, guard against every kind of greed. Life is not measured by how much you own.' Then he told them a story. A rich man had a fertile farm that produced fine crops. He said to himself, 'What should I do? I don't have room for all my crops.'" So let's stop right there. Before we get too deep into the story, I want you to notice something. You see down there in verse 16, Jesus calls this guy rich. Am I wrong or am I right? He calls him rich, and he says that he has a fertile farm that produced fine crops. Everybody underline that. Underline, a rich man had a fertile farm that produced fine crops. And what I want you to know about that is that this guy had it all. This guy was set up. He was a rich man, and he had a farm that produced fine crops. So he had everything. He had money. He had probably all the good food that he could ever want. He had everything that he could possibly need. But check out what happens in verse 18 and 19. It goes on to say, "Then he said, 'I know, I'll tear down my barns and I'll build bigger ones. Then I'll have room enough to store all my wheat and other goods. And I'll sit back and I'll say to myself, my friend, you have enough stored away for years to come. Now take it easy. Eat, drink, and be merry.'" Anybody ever heard that? Eat, drink, and be merry thing? I've heard that before. Eat, drink, and be merry. This guy decides to do more work just so that he can have more stuff. His thought here in verse 18, really, if you think about it, it really isn't even necessary. But his greed made him think that he had to work harder. All for the promise, or the hope I should say, to be able to sit back, eat, drink, and be merry. A side note, that phrase, eat, drink, and be merry, some people will say that since that is in the Bible, that those are words to live by. We should all just sit back and get fat, eat, drink, and be merry. That's all life is about. And the Bible says it, so let's do that. But they take it completely out of context. This guy is simply saying that he wants to live life like this. This is not a command from God. This guy is saying, this is what I should do. I have plenty. I'm just going to sit back, eat, drink, and be merry. This is not a command from God on how to live life. Okay, enough of that. Let's get back to the story. Start back in verse 20. It says, "But God said to him, 'You fool, you'll die this very night. Then who will get everything you worked for?' Yes, a person is a fool to store up earthly wealth but not have a rich relationship with God. This is the word of the Lord. Amen. So unexpectedly, out of nowhere, this man dies. Probably the very night that he said something like that. He just passes away. And I don't want to be morbid or anything with you guys, but that's going to happen to all of us. We're all going to eventually die. Don't get sad on me. It's going to happen. But if you don't die, you can't go be with the Lord either. So, glory. We're all going to eventually die. None of us knows when that's going to happen. None of us knows what moment that will be. But I think that at that moment when we do die, it will be clear to us that we ain't taking stuff with us. It's all getting left here. And it'll be clear to us also how much of a waste it is to live a life chasing money and chasing more and more stuff. So let's make this real practical, and we're going to look at 3 ways of how we can live a life free from chasing money. Now, these are 3 ways that I wish I would have hung on to as a teenager. These are 3 ways, or 3 things, 3 pieces of advice, just nuggets that somebody should have told me when I was in high school. Because I have struggled tremendously with pretty much all 3 of these things that I'm going to share with you, but I think that's why it's important. You need to learn these 3 things now. The easiest way money can take control of you is through unwise use of debt and credit cards. And I want to tell you this from experience. I've made some horrible decisions when it comes to credit cards. I'm going to tell you a story. Jamie Willis goes from Cuba, Missouri to Marshall, Missouri to play college basketball at Missouri Valley College. Little country kid, didn't fit in school because I was in a dance group and people made fun of me. So when I go to college, all I want to do is fit in. And so I didn't have any money, didn't have a job, whatever. My dad says, you know what, I'm going to get you a credit card. It's got a $2,500 limit on it. He got it for me for Christmas. By spring break, that's January, February, probably sometime in March, right? Is that when spring break is? March. I had maxed out my dad's credit card. $2,500. Guess where every purchase came from? The gas station. I bought chips, I bought dog food, and I bought drinks for all my friends. Because I was terrible with credit card debt. I thought, hey, if I got this thing in my pocket, that must mean I got some money. So I maxed out this credit card. My dad was so mad at me. So I've struggled with credit cards pretty much my entire credit card career. Ever since I could have a credit card, I struggled bad. So the first thing I want you to be aware of, I want you to know, is be careful about debt. Everybody say that. Say, be careful about debt. And I understand that this may not be available to you yet. Credit cards and stuff like that. But learn the lesson now before it can become an issue for you later. When you are faced with credit cards and being able to get all those things. And maybe this hits home for you tonight because maybe your parents struggle with credit card debt. I'm not talking about the debt that you get when you buy a house. Nobody buys a house with a credit card. There's different kinds of debt. There is debt that you get for buying a house for your family, buying a car because you got to go places, student loans to help you pay for school, and then there's credit card debt where you go buy a candy bar at 21% interest. And it's just dumb. It's ignorant. So please be careful about all things that have to deal with credit cards. Credit cards can be a great thing. People go flying all over the world on miles, but there's a way that you have to go about paying stuff off so you don't pay interest and blah, blah, blah. Somebody should have told me that a long time before I got into credit card issues back then. It was terrible. One of the best habits I also think that you can get into is, hold on, back to the credit card for a second. My son is a senior, and he's applied for scholarships. And I don't know if any other seniors in here have applied for scholarships, or even juniors, if you've gotten on websites and started planning for scholarships. This dude gets probably 3 credit card application emails every day because he's looking for college scholarships. So credit card companies out there are preying on kids who are just coming out of high school because they know that they're going to need some money when they go to college. So it's like just coming out of all different directions. So he's got an email account set up specifically for scholarship information, and it's just full of credit card apps. Here you go, $5,000 here, 22% interest. Get your credit started now, blah, blah, blah. It's terrible. And it's every day he gets something by email. So make sure when you go to college, you seniors, make a separate email account because it's going to be non-stop. Scholarship stuff, credit card stuff, it's just ridiculous. Make a totally separate account just for that, and when you get your scholarships and all that done, just don't even use it anymore. Just let it sit there. Okay, don't give them your real email address though, because it just never stops. Okay, one of the best habits that you can get into is saving money. And I know a lot of you don't have a job, so this may not pertain to you, but I know that a lot of you go, hey, Mom, Dad, I need like $20 to go to the movies. Knowing that you can go to the movies and get popcorn, and you could probably have like $3 or $4 left over. And if you're me, that just burns a hole in your pocket. So save that. Save money if your parents give you too much. The second thing I want to tell you is try to save at least 10% of your money and let it build up. You'd probably be pretty surprised by how fast you saving 10% of the money that you get, how fast that adds up into an account if you put it into like a savings account or something. But when you have a regular job, get into a habit of putting 10% back into some sort of savings account, okay? And the last and probably the most important thing that I can share with you is a lesson that you can't really teach, I don't think, about money. We can explain it to you, but I think that you have to experience it.
Amen.
And that is tithe first. Everybody say that. Tithe first. Write that down. The third and most important aspect of money is to tithe first. In the Bible, we're commanded to tithe out of obedience to God, not out of obligation. There's a big difference. You tithe out of obedience to God, not out of obligation, not because you think you're going to get something. You tithe in order to give God your obedience. Basically, tithing is giving to God 10% of what He gives you. When we live our lives recognizing that God has 100% of everything, then giving 10% back seems like a fairly big deal. It's a very small portion of what He has given us. It is all that He blesses us with so much, and it seems so simple to give back God such a small portion. So here's the basic thing behind the scenes look at what tithing is. Everybody do this. Everybody make a real tight fist. I mean tight, like squeeze it, like you're squeezing coal when you're trying to squeeze a diamond out of there. Tighten it up. We often live like that right there. Squeeze it real hard. I want your hands to start shaking. Just keep squeezing it. We live life like this sometimes. And we live with a closed fist. And everything around us, we feel like we got to reach out and grab and hang on to. Reach out and grab that and hang on to. And so we live this unrelaxed, tense, stressful life because we're trying to get stuff and hold on to it. And hold on to it. But when we start to tithe, we live like this. Everyone open up their palm. Man, that feels good, don't it? We live like that. And this kind of picture represents God being able to put stuff in there. God blessing you with this. God putting this in your life. And in return, He also gets it back. There's no stress. There's no anxiety in that. There's some relaxation in this. You're not so uptight about everything. We should be living like this. This is when we can truly recognize God in our lives. And as a result of an obedience, like tithing, you become less and less dependent on, guess what? Your money. When you live with the tithe first and your hands open, I believe that you will become less and less dependent on your money. You stop chasing money. When you stop chasing, you begin to relax. And you begin to live a life that God is calling you to live. Being generous really does fill you up emotionally and spiritually. In reality, it still comes back to this relationship that we have to have with God. It's all about relationships. Sometimes money, I think, gets in the way of that. It really does. I definitely think money can distract you from prioritizing God as the number one thing in your life. One more time, I'm going to read the verse from Luke. As the band comes forward, let's read together on your piece of paper. Luke chapter 12, verse 21. Yes, a person is a fool to store up earthly wealth, but not have a rich relationship with God. You guys, there's a book out there called Rich in the Things That Matter Most. And it was fantastic. I think, Jennifer, didn't we do a study about that? Or is that just one of the things in the study? I think it was one of the things, maybe it's not a book about it, but there's a statement called Rich in the Things That Matter Most. And that's kind of the way I feel I am. I'm not rich as far as money goes. I'll tell you that right now. But I got some things in my life that really matter to me, that have nothing to do with money. And I believe that I'm rich in the things that matter most. I'm rich, and I'm getting richer and richer as time goes on, especially this year. Because I told you that I really feel like this year is going to be a time of spiritual growth for me. I can feel it. I'm like on fire for some reason. So I'm rich in my relationship with God, and it's getting better and better and better every day. So I want you guys to be rich in things that matter, and not so much rich monetarily. I don't pray that over you. But I do pray that you become rich in your relationship with God. Amen? Amen. Okay, let's stand and we'll pray together, and then I'll open up just the time that you guys can come up and have some prayer.